I told you we do a lot of E.L. Lewison games, and boy, they have game week after week. They've got really tough games.
And welcome into the MBR video stream. You're watching on the YouTube channel. Russ Thompson and Coach Wing here from Bulow Stadium. And Cheverus kicks this one off low down on the ground towards Thornton Academy. It's picked up on the run, and good blocking there, staying on his feet. Looks like that was C.J. Lebrec who got it out close to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, pretty good field position. You know, anything beyond the 25 or 30, that's really good field position. One first down, and you're into the other team's territory. So great spot to start.
Well, and it's interesting. I think the wind is certainly a factor here as to why Cheverus just kicked that ball so low into the air. But we'll get the first look of the day at the Thornton Academy Trojan offense. And they've got two receivers to the right, one to the left. And Michael Leverrier, the quarterback, he hands this one off and fakes the handoff, actually keeps it himself up for a couple yards there. Little trickeration, but the quarterback keeps it himself.
Yeah, so they're going to run the true read, see if they can read that tackle and find out what they need to do. And they put two wide receivers to the right with a tight end to the right, so it almost creates a trip situation, three receivers, but you don't notice it because the tight end's over there. So, again, some pretty good thought went into this.
So second down here and about 7. The pass over to the left, coming down, and that was Johnny Rosario coming up, and he's going to get a first down.
Boy, he's a big receiver. It was just a quick screen with nobody in front blocking. It was secondary blocking coming. He just put a stiff arm on the defensive back and pretty much ran over him.
Well, and you wonder also with the wind coming right off here off Back Bay, it's coming in kind of sideways, so it's not really to anybody's advantage. And actually a penalty will come back at this one, but
the face mask.
You wonder how much that's in the minds of the quarterback when they're trying to throw the ball, because it could get up in the air and go who knows where.
Having got a quarterback, you know, you do worry about that, because you worry about whether the nose of the ball is up or down, and it does affect how that goes.
So now after the face mask penalty, still second down, this time looks to be about 12 or 13 yards. Quarterback takes the snap, and there's a little bit of confusion there, and great penetration by Cheverus.
Yeah, they sent their outside backer on that side. Surprise here. Well, you know, sometimes if you think they're not going to pass much because of the weather, you are going to bring people up close.
So 3rd and 15, two receivers to the right, one to the left. Leverrier in the shotgun, he rolls. He's got good protection, lobs one down the middle to the right and going up, knocking that down, but a flag comes in late.
Oh, wow.
Good coverage there by a couple Cheverus defensive backs, and you wonder maybe pass interference, but now they're talking it over.
Well, you know, I think that it looks like they were going to call pass interference.
So we'll come back after.
It shouldn't have been.
So coming back here on the MBR Game of the Week, presented by OA on ESPN 970. And that one was called pass interference. So Thornton Academy kind of got bailed out there. It looked like the contact came in after the ball came in, but there was a referee right behind on the sideline over there.
The Cheverus defender was on the outside. Now, they may have called it on the other defender, and he cut across in front and went for the ball, which he's entitled to do. Now, they may have called it on the other defender, which, you know, we don't really know. They don't give us a number.
Yeah.
But it gives Thornton Academy first down.
Yeah, because they had him stopped off the field there on a long 3rd down. But now the ball's right at midfield, first down and 10. And Thornton Academy gets bailed out to a certain extent here. 10.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, still scoreless on the opening drive of the game. Handoff up the middle, and again there looked to be a little bit of confusion on the handoff from the quarterback to the tailback, and he wasn't able to get much.
He's trying to read that defensive tackle. They're letting him go unblocked, and that time it looked like he tried to take it out, and I think the ball carrier said, no, it's mine, and kept it. And I think, you know, this isn't the first time Cheverus seen the spread. I think they're prepared for it, and it looks like they're pretty well coached defensively.
So again, this 2 receiver to the left, 1 to the right. The quarterback will keep it and throw it in right in and out of the hands there. That was Johnny Rosario. The ball was lofted up in the air. He looked to his right, looked to his left, and it went right between his hands.
I think he thought the ball was going to come over the inside, and maybe the wind affected it. It came to the outside shoulder, so he had to turn and lose track of the ball. It's like an outfielder worried about the fence, and he couldn't come up with it, and it's too bad. It was a nicely thrown ball.
I was going to say, with the wind conditions here, I mean, that ball, but it was lobbed way up into the air.
He had plenty of time for it.
Easy to lose that one in the air. 2nd down and 10 after the incomplete pass. Again, this is going to be a pass play. And he found a receiver that was down on the ground. That was Rosario picking up 7. He must have slipped and caught that ball off his feet.
Yeah, he fell down just as the ball was being thrown. And by God, he got back on his feet in a hurry to catch that ball. This is interesting that Thornton Academy has been kind of forced into a passing attack because Cheverus has shut down the running attack. They haven't gained a positive yard yet.
Well, yeah, and we mentioned it in the pregame. Thornton Academy was almost able to rack up 500 yards last week just on the ground. So you see that big offensive line, and they go jumbo here. The snap right to the quarterback, and he's going to go in untouched down the right-hand side. Touchdown, Thornton Academy, and it's the quarterback, Michael Laverriere, who gets it done.
So much for me saying they stopped them cold. You know, and it isn't like Cheverus playing some new defense. They're in a 52 defense that they've been in for 10 years. And he just broke the seam, and he was gone.
So that took about 6 minutes there on the opening drive, and the drive almost ended there before the pass interference, but Thornton was able to take advantage, and you saw a lot through the air there, but then when they went jumbo and really stacked that line, there was nobody that even touched the quarterback.
Yeah, they brought all new personnel in.
And the extra point is good. They're coming off the foot of Cameron Cadorte, and it's 7-0 Thornton Academy, making a statement there on the opening drive of the game.
It's so funny. I mean, they looked like Cheverus really containing them, and all of a sudden, bang, one play. And if you're looking at it and you just walked in, you go, oh, go, Thornton's blowing them out. You know, it's crazy. The sport is crazy.
Yeah, well, hey, it's the difference in the games are red zone plays, third down completions,
penalties, and not making mistakes.
Exactly. All those mentally tough plays that they expect you to be. And certainly that's the way that Thornton Academy has combated its foes over the last couple of years. They're looking for 3 in a row here in the highest level in the state of Maine. Class A, they're coming from the Class A South, and Cheverus in the Class A North. A crossover game here. We've seen a lot of those crossovers in the first couple of weeks of the year.
As you said, I think it's great. You get a chance to see some other teams.
And Cataract is also going to get this kickoff here. Coming down, and a good tackle there quickly. Griffin Watson was the guy who came back deep, but great coverage there by Thornton Academy. They came down as ball hawks. And now we'll get the first look at Cheverus after a 6-minute opening drive from Thornton Academy. And we'll get the first look at that shotgun wing tee.
Kind of anxious to see if that's what they're going to do. Mike Haley and I would call it a shotgun wing tee. And they're not spreading out. They're running 2 tights, and looks like they're saying, okay, we're going to run the ball. What are you going to do with it? And the quarterback's really like the old single wing running back up in close.
And this one's going to go direct snap.
Ooh.
Looked like that was to the fullback, and he got kind of yanked and a late flag in there at the end.
I think it was a face mask.
Yeah.
Might have been the back of the helmet, but it was helmet anyway. And that was just a direct snap and off tackle. So that's exactly what this is. This is running the wing tee from shotgun.
Well, and that was Ryan Benedict that got his helmet yanked off there on the face mask penalty. So automatic first down coming up here for Cheverus, and not the worst way in the world to start your drive.
Hey, 15 yards, picks them up by midfield. Get there any way that you can. It's going to be really interesting to see. Like I say, they don't have what we call a true quarterback, although number 16, Conan has been in there in the backfield, and it looks like they have an up back, number 23, Gilliam, who is kind of like a blocking back in what we would have called in the old days.
There's a lot of guys in that backfield. I mean, it's very crowded. The snap and the handoff here, but Thornton read that one well. Coming in for the tackle was Adam Gibbons.
So really, it's like an old fullback belly. They snapped the ball to the quarterback deep. He turned, belly to the fullback, and they trapped the guard and try to kick the end out. And I'll tell you what, those two defensive ends for Thornton Academy, the kid on this side, number 67, is a house.
That's Michael Cludier, or actually, that's Kyle Holman.
Holy, it doesn't say
how big he is, but he's clearly the biggest kid on the field. I think there's very little doubt about that.
He's tall and he's thick through. He's a big man.
So here on second down, the fake handoff, and they're going to try and pass this one. The ball dropped off and couldn't get there. That was Griffin Watson who was intended for it, but just not enough on that pass.
Boy, it's too bad because the fake had everybody drawn in.
It took me too.
And if he could have gotten it up in a little bit more air under it, we always say as a quarterback, you try to get the nose of the ball up. Let the ball carry itself. Don't try to overthrow it. He kind of threw it on a line. Boy, if he'd gotten some air on that, he might have gotten some yardage on that.
So that brings up a third down and long coming up here, as Thornton is trying to get Cheverus off the field here in their first drive. A couple players in motion there. And this snap is going to go up front. Decent blocking and another flag coming in here late.
Man. They snapped it to the short man after a shift and then a man in motion. So, again, Cheverus trying to confuse people as holding, trying to confuse Thornton Academy and see if they can't break through some holes there.
How unique is this offense?
Well, it's a combination. I haven't had a chance to talk to Mike, but it's a combination of wing T from shotgun and the old single wing. It's single wing where you snapped it to the quarterback and he spun back to the line of scrimmage. They snapped it to the up back that time, and he took the ball. So it is pretty unique. I mean, old time, but first time we've seen it in a while.
Well, and there's just a lot of movement in the backfield on almost every down. So after that penalty, it's going to be fourth down. Cheverus is going to punt this one off. It'll bounce in front of the returner, and they're just going to let this one go and drop down. Touching that is Bobby Slattery. Yeah. And Cheverus is able to punt that one down about the 16-yard line as Thornton will take over.
We always used to say, if you at all possible, try to catch the ball in the air, because I swear it always rolls against the offense 10 to 15 yards every time. But again, I'm kind of excited to see whether this offense can move the ball, because it's pretty unique, like you said. Combination of things.
And here comes Thornton Academy with their massive offensive line and weapons on the outside as well. They certainly look to be the odds-on favorite to repeat again. The quarterback will keep this one himself, and he's got great blocking coming down the left-hand side. Makes a couple more miss, comes outside the 40-yard line. He got hit late there, might have been out of bounds.
Could have been a late hit. They didn't call it, but it was close. Boy, good running. He ran the read. Everybody went after the running back inside. He turned and started inside and then cut to the outside, made a nice move around the defensive back and picked up, I don't know, 15, 18 yards. So nice gain on by the quarterback.
And that looked certainly like a designed run there for
no question.
Michael Averier, the senior quarterback. He takes the snap in the shotgun, gets this one over to Rosario, who's got good blocking once again. It'll be another easy first down pickup.
Goes to first down. That's just a slip screen. They went to just give him the ball, and the two receivers on his side just went out and blocked. And they can go down and block as long as that ball is thrown into in the backfield.
Well, and certainly I think the first thing when you look at this Thornton offensive line is the size. But there's some guys that can get out there and pull and really move and get blocking at that next level.
Yeah, pretty versatile group.
So now they've got three receivers bunched to the left. But this one is going to be kept with the quarterback. And Leverrier gets more blocking and comes right outside. This is going to be close down to the first down. I think they picked up another one there.
You know, it was the read again, and they faked the slip screen to Bennett on this side with the trips. And, again, great deceptive running by the quarterback. He was in the backfield. I thought he was penned in twice, and he got away. So, again, boy, terrific running.
7 minutes left here in the first quarter on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. Leverrier takes a snap, lobs this one over into the corner, and Rosario picks that one up. What a 40-yard pass there on the money, touchdown, second of the game, and Thornton's up 13-0.
See, I think the comparison is because they've been able to run the ball, it opens up the pass game, whereas Cheverus, I think that one pass would have been open. But again, you got to run the ball to throw the ball, or you got to throw the ball to run the ball. Take your pick. And, boy, he looks terrific.
Well, in that connection, I mean, obviously trying to get the ball over to Johnny Rosario. But Leverrier lobbed that ball perferfully, and he caught it in stride.
Right in stride, broke by the defensive back, and he's a big receiver.
Extra point is good. 14-0. Thornton jumps out here.
They don't give his size, but I'm going to say Rosario's 6'3", maybe even taller than that, and he can run.
And he's already made an impact in this
game. And Leverrier, boy, he's a big kid, and he's got a great arm. That's been the mark of their quarterbacks these last 3-4 years, is they can run and they can throw. I mean, really outstanding.
Well, you'd think there would be a drop-off, but it doesn't seem to be a drop-off after the great quarterback play that they've had over the last couple of years. And maybe that's another byproduct of Thornton Academy, the program that they have. When a senior comes in with all the experience that he's had playing the last couple of years, there's really not a drop-off there.
No, that's right. And I see it's the kickoff team, and they've got Rosario out there on the kickoff team. I think I might have him sitting next to me on the bench.
Bit, yeah.
Well, don't want to get him with a twisted ankle or whatever. I mean, you never think about that as a coach. You want your best people out there, and sometimes there are some kids you can get them a chance to play on the kickoff team. There's some new numbers out there.
So a great start to this one. Halfway through the first quarter, and it's already 14-0 Thornton Academy. The kickoff gets taken to the outside, and great return there coming up. That was Ryan Benedict, and he was able to take this ball outside the 35-yard line.
And Carteret, the kicker, one little step, it's like a field goal, and it's down to the 15-yard line. I mean, and nice and high, good coverage. Yeah, they have the makings of, with all the ingredients, to be a pretty good football team.
Well, that's a good point there. Maybe kicker gets overlooked at a lot of schools in the state of Maine, but it is a very important position.
It's a third of the game.
Yeah.
When you figure kickoffs, kickoff return, punt return, it's a third of the game. And you better be good at it.
So second time we'll get a chance to see Cheverus here in the shotgun wing tee. Direct snap there to Benedict, and he has no blocking as Thornton was able to get great pressure up the middle.
Well, it was a single receiver, which is a tough pattern because it doesn't have any options. If that guy's covered, now what? So what you need is that guy to break by somebody and be open so that fake run can be a run pass. And he just wasn't open, and now there's nobody to go to. You got to sometimes drag somebody from the other side in behind the linebacker so that you got a safety valve or throw it away.
Well, and it's just tough. I mean, you look at right now, if you're watching on the MBR video stream, look at the defensive line and then the linebackers for Thornton Academy. There's really not a drop-off in size there. So you got 7 guys that are coming at you that are defensive line type size.
Well, and the defensive backs are up really close. I mean, they're playing the run. Like I said, I think it doesn't look to me with this offense that Cheverus is saying we got a great quarterback that can throw the ball like we're seeing on the other side. And so people start creeping up. Now, play action, you can sometimes get by those people, but not always.
So not much there on second down. Sets up third down, I believe, about 11 or 12. I think they lost some yards there. Probably 4 or 5. So we're probably looking at a third down and 16. And this pretty much limits your playbook when you don't have a traditional type quarterback to throw the ball down the field. They don't even really have anybody lined it up wide on the boundaries.
No, that's right. Too tight and whatever. Yeah, we used to say as coaches, you say to yourself, yeah, what do you got in the playbook for this one, coach? They're in 16, 18. There aren't many plays. Trust me. They probably will run the ball.
And they do run it, and it's a direct snap to Benedict. He breaks through a couple tackles, won't get anywhere near the first down marker, and fourth down will come on up.
Benedict to the 34-yard line.
And this is tough here for Cheverus as they are unable to get that opening push. Special teams unit will come out, and if you're a Thornton Academy fan, I don't know if this first quarter could be going any better.
No, that's right.
You can follow along with us online on Twitter at MBR Radio or MBR Maine. You can also follow me on Twitter at Russ Thompson 19. this punt a good punt, but it's going to be picked up by
he's got a lane.
Bracamonte, who's going over the right-hand side. His blocking staying on his feet, and he's going to take this one down inside the 15-yard line. Great punt return that time by Anthony Bracamonte, who's only a sophomore.
Thornton set up the wall. You could feel it coming. I said it right as soon as he caught the ball. It was kind of a line drive kick. Again, I would rather have height in a punt than distance because you can cover it. Sometimes if it's a line drive like that, you don't get down there, and they've got the wall set up, and he's outside and on his way.
So they will have terrific field position here. The quarterback in the shotgun. He's going to hand this one off to C.J. Lebrec, who stays up on his feet, gains a couple there on first down, but actually good coverage there by Cheverus.
So it looks like what Cheverus is really committing to the read, that up back that's getting the ball or the fake. They've made their hay when the quarterback keeps the ball and runs outside with it. No question.
So now they've got 3 receivers bunched to the left. You can hear the wind through the broadcast. That is how windy it is. We're having things fly right by us. A flag came in there on the opposite side of the field and must have been in an illegal alignment there.
The game last night, illegal procedure. Last night, Portland had 13 penalties. 6 of them were procedure, either man in motion illegally, improper formation, too much time, delay a
13
game.
penalties and they won that game.
13 penalties and they won because everything else went their way. They were so lucky. I mean, they're a good football team, don't get me wrong, but everything went their way.
Quarterback keeps this one, and he drags a couple defenders up close towards the first down marker, but it'll bring up third down and short.
The other thing that's been a staple in Thornton Academy's attack is their line is so big and their receivers so big. The quarterback doesn't look big, but he is. I bet you'll find the quarterback 6'2"
I was just thinking that, and he's solid too. I mean, you can see
he's
here
a big kid
on our video stream. Just look at the huddle there for Thornton Academy, and they've got 6 or 7 kids who are well over 6'2". This time, Leverrier is going to take it outside. He gets tracked down right towards the first down marker.
Just short, I think.
So it's going to bring up fourth down and short, but certainly you're going to be going for it here, especially with how much confidence Coach Kiesel must have in this line.
Yeah, it's a 4-down zone. Early in the game, you might as well go for it. If you don't get it, they're pinned back. So I'm sure they're going to go for it. They're going to take a timeout.
And we'll take one, too, right here on the ESPN Game of the Week, MBR's Game of the Week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
With 2 remaining.
What's going on?
You're all set. Your computer froze up, so I had to restart the stream. So that's all set. I also had to put it up there so it came in good. So I don't know. I updated it. Now it's running. Is Tyler here? Not yet.
They were saying that your mic was a little bit low, but I turned it up, so. And Maddie, it's only 134 drop frames. Fourth down coming up here. The handoff right up the middle, and it gets in there for the touchdown. That is C.J. Lebrec, the sophomore running back. 4th down and 1. He gets 6 there, and now they're up 20-0.
Yeah, they just went with a full house backfield saying, here we come, try to stop us. And with that big, as you said, a big, powerful offensive line, they just ran right over them.
Yeah, you saw there Adam Gibbons, number 44, the fullback, who looks like he could be a left tackle for most teams, was also in there as well as they went jumbo. Extra point coming up here as Thornton Academy looks to make this a 21-point game, and it is up and it's good. And they have Coach certainly grabbed control in this game and looked very, very fluid while doing it.
And this is a worry with I've been on the edge of that when you're the new coach. And you beg that this doesn't happen to you early in the season where you get another team come in that's just loaded and you fall behind like this. You don't want your team to give up.
Give up, yeah.
But mentally, you understand they're saying there's a new sheriff in town and there's a little different and, all that stuff. And this is not what Cheverus needed. And I'm hoping that Coach Vance and his staff can keep this together. It's a long season. You never know when you lose a game early, you come right back at the end of the season, the playoffs start, bang, you never know.
Well, and it's an interesting dynamic, too, from Coach Wolfgram from the imprint that he put on this team over 10-plus years. But that's an interesting dynamic to have a new guy coming in, to have to kind of listen to him as a player, and you don't want to lose your team in week 2.
No, absolutely not, and this is the kind of team that you could, because it's pretty clear to me. It's pretty clear to me that Thornton is loaded, and they're going to put pressure on you over and over and over. And looks like we've got an injury that they're really worried about, and they're going to bring both teams off the field.
And we will step aside here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970 for an injury timeout. We'll be back hopefully in just a few minutes.
Good job, guys. Sounds great.
Does it? Where'd Matty go?
He went over that way. Is that a Thornton player or is it a Cheverus player?
I didn't even see anybody on the ground, so I don't know. Somebody must have taken a timeout.
Away.
And we're back here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. All of our games are presented by OA, and we wanted to mention to you guys that it's not a player that is down on the sideline over there. It looks to be a coach, a member of the coaching staff. And, Coach, I think we were trying to theorize here maybe a fainting or something because he's moving over there, but obviously you just don't want to take any chances.
He's not moving a lot. He's his feet are straight out. He's moved his arms a little bit, but he's not. They haven't sat him up at all. So don't want to speculate, but certainly they're serious enough that they cleared both teams off and are taking a break.
And it's 21-0 here, 2:14 to go in the first quarter. A reminder that September 18th is National Cheeseburger Day. Come celebrate at Sunday River Brewing Company in Bethel and check out their 5-burger challenge. Fox and friends will be there as well. That's September 18th. For more info and to get on their social media links, visit SundayRiverBrewingCompany.com. That sounds fun. I could get down
It
with
does.
National Cheeseburger Day.
There's nothing in that menu I didn't like.
And also, reminder that our games are presented by OA, board certified, nationally recognized. That's OA, online at orthoassociates.com. A little bit of a break in the action here, but certainly I think Thornton has lived up to the billing here very early on. They have been tremendous. They've executed really at all levels.
The first 3 out of the first 4 plays, Cheverus brought everybody up tight and said, we're going to stop your read offense, with the option or whatever, and they did. And then Thornton, I want to say they got lucky. I wasn't sure that it should have been a pass interference call, but that's what they called. And so there's a pass interference call, and suddenly it was almost like Thornton Academy woke up and said, oh, wait, the game started. Maybe we should stop playing. And after that, it was unreal. Coach, you have any reply? Is he sitting up now?
We're just trying to.
Still not sitting up. We can't really get a read. The trainers and whatever are kind of between us.
Yeah.
But it's one of the sideline personnel and pretty much still laying flat down the ground. Has moved his arms because I've seen his arm move up. So you don't know. It could be, fainting. You hope it's not a heart attack or whatever.
Everything happened so quickly because it was after the last Cheverus the last Thornton Academy touchdown there, and the kickoff came back. And then right after the kickoff, you saw the Thornton Academy bench go all the way over to the left there, and a couple of the Cheverus trainers go over. So somewhere in the middle there, something went down.
Yeah, we couldn't tell what it was. We didn't see an injury or anything.
We initially thought it was a player, but it's very clearly an adult over there.
So it's kind of caught it up here a little bit, Russ. It's chain gang. He's saying maybe.
Okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I see 1, 2, 3. There's 4 guys right there, Coach, with the yellow vests on. I don't know. Be interested to see.
Russ Thompson and Coach Dave Wing here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA on ESPN 970. And Coach, looking ahead here a little bit for Thornton Academy, they've certainly went out there and scheduled just about every high-quality team in the state. They've obviously got Cheverus here today. A couple weeks from now, they have Wyndham, they have Scarborough coming up, and then that last game of the regular season against Bonnie Eagle. They're certainly going to have quite a few tests here coming up.
Yeah, just to clarify now, the conference will make up you're going to play everybody in your either north or south. You're going to play everybody there once, and then there are crossovers. In some years, when I was coaching at Skowhegan, one year we didn't play Gardner from the south, and it happened to be in the state championship game. That's who we played. So they don't get a chance to pick and say, well, we want to play so-and-so. But certainly, if you've got a good team, you want to play good teams. You don't want to have teams and games where you score 50 points. It's discouraging for the other team. Your kids don't get a good, tough competition.
Yeah.
And that's right. It isn't good for the fans. It just doesn't work for anybody. So the better the competition, the better it is. Now, whoever's putting together the schedule, I know in hockey for a while they did what they call the power schedule.
The tiers.
And if you wanted to play the tougher teams, now you take the risk that if you win those games, you're going to get a lot of heel points.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you might not get in the tournament. And those teams that opt for the second-tier schedule, one of them is probably going to have an opportunity to get in the tournament that probably shouldn't be there. But, depends on what you want. And
well, it's an interesting dynamic here, too, because both these teams compete out of the SMAA. And
sure.
half the SMAA is up in the north and half of it's in the south. And it's really, there's a little bit of that with basketball, but it's really the only sport where you see conferences that are split up, and some of them are in the north and some are in the south. And they did that a couple of years ago for competitive to make things. And I think for the most part, but it just kind of creates these weird dynamics that in every other sport, these two teams are competing in the same division, but for whatever reason, they're not in this one. Yeah,
the sports like field hockey, football, where everybody doesn't play them, ice hockey, the configurations there are always pretty different. In sports like basketball, most everybody plays soccer now, baseball, softball. It's pretty clear which division everybody's in. There's no crossing over like that. There's plenty of games. It's only in those sports where not everybody plays, and so on.
And now we're getting a golf cart that's driving across the field, and I believe that's going over I think the guy is still on the ground.
Yes. This has been now about an 8-minute, almost 10-minute stop and play. We've got some people coming across. I think that this leads me to believe it wasn't just a fainting spell. This is something serious.
Serious, yeah.
And we still can't get any indication who it is, whether it's a coach, whether it's sideline personnel.
It's not a student. We know that.
No, I don't believe so. And maybe it's part of the chain gang, although I think that I see 4 people with those yellow SMA vests on.
I think it might be one of the members of the coaching staff because it looks like he's wearing khakis, shorts.
True, good day.
But certainly, quite a bit of a delay here. You're listening and watching. If you're watching, you're watching on the MBR video stream on our YouTube channel. And we have our cameraman, Joe Carpini, here today working
Best in the business.
Russ Thompson and Dave Wing on the call. This one is 21-0, and it's taken quite a bit of time to get. We're still in the first quarter. There's still 2:15.
It's been a pretty
eventful
eventful
in the first quarter.
It certainly has shown really 2 parts of the first period. The first part where nobody moved the ball at all, and Cheverus showed us, some new, almost like an old single wing formation with the wing T operation, and all of a sudden, Thornton's, after they got the pass interference call in their favor, after that they were a house on fire. Their offense looked absolutely awesome. They're big, they're fast, their receivers. Rosario is huge. The quarterback, is it Leverrier?
Leverrier, yeah.
Leverrier is a man. He's at least 6'2", 6'3", and they've had that.
Yeah, well,
their last several quarterbacks have been very good size.
Yeah, I mean, I think you start the list with McCrum there, and the fact that he's off playing at the D1 level right now. But I think what makes Leverrier very unique here in the state of Maine is that the big body, but there's plenty of guys with a big body that can be athletes, but that pass that he went down the left-hand side here to Rosario, what a 35-yard pass, right on the money, midstream there for Rosario. I think that's what makes him a little bit unique here.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have a decent passer and a decent quarterback.
One or the other, but not both.
Oh, boy, he can do both.
And we're going to step aside once again here as this has been kind of a lengthy injury delay. Hopefully on the other side we'll have some things crossed out here, but you are listening to the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on 970 ESPN. We'll be back right after this. Is the stream all messed up or something?
Hey, can you see where they've brought a doctor over, or is it just so that, here's the ambulance. This is...
Oh, okay.
To go.
And we are back here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA on ESPN 970. And they've brought out the ambulance on the back portion of the track field over there. So hopefully this will be a little bit smoother here. But they're not taking any
no, this
chances
looks pretty
here.
serious. You know, you don't want to speculate too much, but I don't think he pulled a hamstring. I think this is pretty serious. I think that their medical personnel are really taking their time, and they haven't moved him until they've got him on the stretcher now, but they didn't move him at all.
Well, Coach, do you have to think about here now, it's been at least 10 minutes. Do you think the teams are going to need a little bit of a warm-up time here coming back? Or
they will. You know, it's interesting. We've always had a misconception about that, but when you read and actually talk with somebody that's what they do for a living, anything within 45 minutes, sometimes even 50 minutes or beyond, you're still okay, that you could go out right now and play. I think general wisdom would be, you know, just if nothing else, you need to get the heart beating a little bit. But as long as you're still perspiring or whatever. Now, if it's a cold day, all bets are off. You know, I think it maybe a little bit, and it has gotten a little cooler.
It has, yeah.
Clearly. But
we might be getting a little bit of rain here this afternoon.
That's what the forecast said, sprinkles and whatever. But I think that you'll find that you see the quarterbacks throwing the ball on the sideline. You may see the team circle up and do, you know, jumping jacks, which quite frankly are useless. But everybody feels good when you're doing them. But we'll see some sort of a stretch, maybe a form run in lines, something where everybody's getting a chance to get blood circulating a little bit. And, you know, stranger things had happened. Maybe this is, you know, this change of momentum suddenly, and Cheverus takes advantage of it. You know, that they finally say, hey, we got another chance here. Let's do something with this.
Yeah, and you heard the applause there. The stretcher was put into the ambulance. So
it looks like Thornton's going to do the form running in line.
I was going to say.
That's what I would do. You know, you pretty much get everything going there.
Yeah, so Thornton is getting out here and stretching on one end zone, and Cheverus is doing the opposite. So that was my question: is about 10 minutes. If it's a couple minutes, I mean, you're just going to get back out there and play.
Yeah.
But I think we got into that middle ground there.
Yeah, it's been 15 minutes anyway, and.
They're still trying to get this one back. And certainly, I mean, I think it takes a little bit of mental focus to have this type of a break where it is. And then to be, I mean, we're still in the first quarter, and this game started 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of game left, too, for both teams, but especially Cheverus. I think, again, that's one of the toughest jobs for a coach is when it's cold weather, staying focused, or when it's hot weather, they're thirsty, they're sweaty, they're tired, you know, whatever. And you as a coach, one of your jobs is to keep them focused, to make sure they don't lose their composure and whatever. So this would be a big test. I mean, watching them run back and forth, I know the white jerseys make you look bigger, but wow, they're quite a bit bigger, aren't they?
Well, I think bigger in terms of physicality and stature.
Yeah.
But also just numbers. I mean, how many more guys are standing in the Thornton end zone than opposed to Cheverus
I didn't count it up, but Mike, you said Cheverus had 40 dressed, you thought? 35 dressed, and well, it looks like at least 50 for Thornton. So, just sheer numbers.
Well, and certainly, I mean, Cheverus being the private school, they're smaller than every other school that they're going to be competing with.
Oh, yeah, they play up. They could actually probably play in C, to be honest with you.
But in Thornton Academy, I mean, the way that they've built this program, and the thing is, they have everybody. They have the big guys that you throw on the line. They have the speedsters on the outside, and then they have those guys in the backfield that are true athletes. So it's not like I mean, at least over the last couple of years, it's not like you look at Thornton Academy and you say, okay, that's their weakness. They really don't have many weaknesses.
Well, if they do, we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet. You know, I was saying to somebody the other day, they were talking about all phases of the game, and I said, the only time that I saw either as a coach or now that I've been a spectator or a broadcast, whatever, that a poor kicking game didn't hurt them. When my son was a junior at Leavitt, they won the state championship. Bill Connie was the coach, and they didn't have a punter. I mean, they stood some guys back there, but it was ridiculous. The problem was they never had to punt.
Yeah, because they were so good.
Jeff Doobie was their running back, and they just simply ran the ball up and down, so it didn't make any difference. I kept saying, it's going to come back to haunt them. Never did.
Well, they're probably thinking, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, and they never did get there.
No.
So we're still doing a warm-up. And this is almost kind of a normal. We're approaching a normal warm-up here. So
yeah, they've gone a little further than I thought they would, but that was quite a break. So, like I say, conventional wisdom always says, when in doubt, make sure they get the heart beating and stretched and whatever. I think physiological, they would tell you that anything within 45 minutes, other than unless it's a cold day, it doesn't make too much difference. So.
You're listening and watching to the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. We'll step aside once again. It looks like the warm-up's drawing to a close, though, so on the other side, we'll have football right here. Don't go anywhere. And we're back here on the ESPN Game of the Week, presented by OA on ESPN 970. After a lengthy delay, the kickoff over to Cheverus. That's Benedict that picks it up, and the ball fumbles out of bounds, so Cheverus will stick with it.
It's marked at the spot where it went out of bounds, as long as they didn't think he actually tossed it out, and they were lucky. If he was a little further away from the sideline, that's maybe a turnover deep in your own territory.
Well, it's interesting, too, I mean, with all the depth that Thornton has, but there's quite a few guys that play on both sides of the ball out there, and your quarterback, Leverrier, is playing, a deep linebacker or a safety right now. You see that a lot in the state, but you don't see it as much at this level.
Yeah, you hope that they can get an opportunity to play as many kids as they possibly can.
So it'll be first down for Cheverus. And Conant lobs that one over to Benedict. Problem is there was 3 or 4 Trojans right there to wrap him up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they faked the ball, and then they let him flare to the left. And really, it's a well-conceived play. You're hoping everybody's dropped off, but, boy, Thornton was not fooled at all. They were all over it.
So 2nd and 11. I think they actually lost a yard there on first down as Conant comes back into the line, or into the huddle over there. And if you're Thornton, I mean, you can just sit back and play your game at this point because you've already gifted yourself a 3-touchdown advantage, and we're still in the first quarter.
Yeah, Thornton's playing a 4-man front. Sometimes they move a guy up in to make it a 5, which is what they're doing right now. So
Conant lobs that one, and it's almost picked off, and I do think it was picked off there, and that was Garrett Lynn going in there, one of the linebackers who was lined up as an end right there.
I think
an acrobatic catch.
Yeah, well, I think what happened was I think that the receiver, it bounced off on him, and then he was tackled, and it went right to the defender. So, great break.
And that one went over to Lynn, and he was able to pick that one off. And there were 2 Trojans right there.
Oh, yeah, they were all over it.
I think that's – and if you're Cheverus, I mean, what else can you do? You can't run the ball right now, and you're forced to being able to be throwing after a 3-touchdown disadvantage, and these are the type of things that happen. So a short field here for the Trojans as Leverrier will keep this one himself, and he's going to truck past everybody. Touchdown, Thornton Academy. One play into that drive, and they get themselves back on the board 27-0.
Yeah, it was the read. He eluded a defender in the backfield and then sprinted right straight up the field. I mean, this is awesome. They look awesome so far.
I believe he truck sticked a linebacker there right off of his feet, and then after that, it was all open. Extra point comes on, and that one is right down the middle, and
No
it's
question.
28-0. And we've got 1:04 left in the first quarter here.
I said the dilemma is for Thornton's coaches. You know, people complain sometimes, well, geez, they scored 50 points. Well, here's one of the dilemmas. You're going to play your other kids. You can't tell them not to play hard. And you can't not play your starters. Let's say right now, they could maybe start putting some subs in. Next week, if they got a tough game, their kids haven't had a full tough game, they got to play in the third period, or you're not doing them justice. It's a tough one when you're a coach.
And isn't this a sport that you can't possibly play at 90% or 80%? Like, you can't take anything off because, one, you develop bad habits, and two, you could get yourself hurt out there.
You're going to get hurt, yeah.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways it's a different sport because, I mean, why does nobody watch the Pro Bowl? Because it's not football. It's only football when guys are going 110% out there. And I don't think you can hold Thornton accountable for how good they are, really.
No, and, you could take a basketball game and you get way ahead and you could pass it around the outside and nobody takes a shot till we've passed 5 times. There's all kinds of things as a coach you can do. What are you going to do? You can't take a knee starting now. That's an embarrassment to the other team. So it's a dilemma, and it's a good dilemma for Thornton Academy. There isn't any question about that.
Well, Coach, there was 2:15 to go there after a lengthy delay. So there was a minute and 15 seconds for Cheverus to have their 4 plays, and then Thornton to come down and score. I mean, that's how quickly they just put another touchdown up on the board.
Yeah, they've got a quick strike capability, no question.
We'll see if Cheverus can get anything going here in the first quarter. The snap right to Benedict. He goes up the middle, gets past a couple, still on his feet, shifting back and forth, but only gains about 3 or 4 there, and he worked really hard to get that.
Nice design play. There's a pretty good size hole. I think the issue that you have when you play Thornton Academy is I don't think you can do much juking and bobbing and weaving. I think you got to put your shoulder down and see if you can get a glancing blow and pick up 4 yards, and try to establish something. I don't think you can do it by expecting to break away. I don't think you're going to break away against this team today anyway.
20 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And that's a high snap to Benedict. He was able to grab it but gets dragged down on the play. And 10 seconds to go, so that'll more than likely bring us here to the end of the first quarter of play. And it has been a very one-sided quarter. 4 touchdowns for Thornton Academy. They've jumped out to a 28-0 lead. And you're listening right now to the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. We'll be back with the second quarter right after this.
Wow. We're going to have to tell some stories today.
Played another spot, so. And Cheverus coming back out here after they picked one up there. So 4th down coming up.
Yeah, on 3rd down they ran to Benedict again and nothing. Absolutely nothing. Lost yardage.
So 11:24 to go. A high punt up into the air. It's going over towards Rosario. Almost hits Michael Hoffer of the forecaster. And we're back on the air here on ESPN 970 after Benedict wasn't able to get much, and a punt came up, and Thornton Academy once again starts off with great field position. They are at their own 45-yard line, and Coach, it's been very easy for them to move the ball here early on.
They've moved the ball very well, and I think the other thing that's happened to Cheverus is they're not moving the ball at all, so the defense is on the field all the time, which, again, gives Thornton opportunities to pick and pry and see if they can find out where the weaknesses are. One of the things with Cheverus, I don't know, the two tight ends and everybody in the backfield, boy, you better be able to run over somebody, and I don't think you're going to run over this Thornton team.
LaVerriere hands that one off to Rosario, who's out in space, gets tripped up, and if he didn't, he might have been gone, but gets enough for a first down there.
Just what they would call in this shotgun
first down.
is the jet sweep. They run the flanker back flat against the line of scrimmage, and just before he gets there, they snap the ball to the quarterback. He hands it off inside, and they try to beat you around the corner before you even know what's happening.
Well, and clearly Johnny Rosario is a guy that Thornton likes to line up all over the field. Outside, he's right to the left this time. But they sent him in motion on the last play, and he picked up 8. This time, LaVerriere is going to look over to Rosario, who's streaking down the left, goes up. Great coverage there. No flag coming in. And Rosario, but that was still right around his fingertips, but was going stride for stride, was that Cheverus defensive back.
Yeah, in that long a pass, as far as the quarterback's concerned, your job is to get out there and give him an opportunity to maybe make a play. It might not get there, but that's exactly what happened. The difference was it was really good defense. The defender stayed on his inside shoulder, and he didn't look back until the ball was in the air, and he made a play on it. So great defense, but still a nicely thrown ball.
Yeah, and some safety help there for Cheverus over the top. They clearly know who the ball is trying to go to is Rosario. LaVerriere is going to take this one over to himself. He's going to truck stick, go across, and pick it up here, move the chains on third down. And it's strong. I mean,
just power running. I mean, he tried to go inside. It wasn't even there, so he turned the corner and lowered his shoulder and made the first down. So, boy, Cheverus just having a hard time containing this offense.
I think a lot of teams are going to have a hard time containing this offense. They have for the last couple of years, and defensively, Thornton Academy is just as strong as well. So they pick up the first down. A couple tight ends on the line, and they're and tripped up in the backfield. I wonder if the quarterback and the tailback got tripped up there. That was a handoff to C.J. Lebrecq, and he was tripped up, and nobody was even in the backfield.
Yeah, really. Well, sometimes that happens when you're doing the read where you're riding the running back in there, and your feet are pretty close together. So it certainly can happen.
Yeah, the footwork. That's why it's so key there on the exchange. So they didn't get anything there on first down. Second down and 10 coming up here. 3 receivers out to the left. And we're going to get a flag coming in here right off the bat. I wonder if this will be a false start.
False start or a delay of game. It looks like false start. I don't see a signal from back here.
Could be offside as well. I think the referees are talking each other over right now. We'll see their There's definitely a discussion going on. And we'll see if there's any confirmation. They're going to go over and talk to Coach Kiesel and see what he wants to do. So I assume the penalty must be on Cheverus then.
Doesn't look like it. Turned towards, I think they're explaining to him what it is. It's going to be marked off against Thornton, at least the way the officials turned. See if we get a signal.
Yeah, it would be nice if the officials signaled. That would be.
Going to pick it up. What, he had to ask Kiesel whether he wanted a penalty against him? What is that?
They just picked up the flag?
Yep.
So that down did not happen right there then, I guess.
Going to play it over. Don't get me started.
Yes, that's okay. So, second down again. LaVerriere pumps a couple times, take this one outside to the right, gets down across the 30-yard line, and it's going to be very close. I think just short here on third down coming up.
Yeah, I think, again, great job. There was nobody open. They did the fake slip screen and then hoping they could break somebody deep. Nobody open, so he ran to the outside. And when he realized no sense taking a punishment, he stepped out of bounds. And they're in the 4-down zone now. They got 2 downs to get this. So they can do something else now.
Well, and that's the mark of a veteran quarterback, that he knows, okay, maybe I'll get another extra yard or 2, but I might feel it tomorrow or later on in the season. Michael Laverriere. And this time, that's a pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but I'll overlook that one, I don't think.
I can't believe that they just picked up that last flag. I mean,
Well,
one of the referees must have said to the other referee, no, you had that wrong.
yeah, or they interpreted the formation incorrectly or something. I don't know, but
It's a tough gig. So 3rd down, and I would say about 6 here coming up, maybe 7 after the false start penalty on Thornton Academy. 9:24 to go in the second quarter. They lead 28-0 right here on the Game of the Week. Laverriere drops back a couple and hits on the run there. Rosario, he picks up the first down, takes it in across the 10, and he's going to get out of bounds there at the 8-yard line, very close to getting a touchdown.
by the way he broke upfield, I thought he was going to make it. Boy, he is a load. He's big, he's fast, he's strong. He's all the things you want in a receiver, no question about that.
Well, and what strikes me too is the route running there, precision. He was lined up right on that first down marker when he came back to get the ball and then took it back out forward. Knew exactly where he needed to go. So Thornton moves the chains once again here. Now they're deep and down into the red zone inside the 10-yard line, or on the 10-yard line. First down and goal. Laverriere to Lebrec, who's staying up on his feet, getting down close to the end line. It'll bring up 2nd and goal.
You know, I tell you, we're in territory that Cheverus fans have been spoiled for a while now. This is not something they're used to, being down 28-0 and Thornton driving, and we still have more than 8 minutes to go in the first half. Although Coach Haley and I went down to see these two teams play 2 years ago down at Thornton, and Thornton just drubbed them. So they have seen this. Full house.
And this is a stack formation. They hand it off across the goal line there for a touchdown. That one was Jason Montano, the sophomore fullback there, and it is 34-0. And Thornton is showing no signs of slowing down.
They bring in a big package. They've got 2 tight ends. They do a full house backfield, which means they can run to either side. It's balanced. And they've got a lead blocker on both sides, or they can run dive on either side. And, boy, they just power it up in there.
And the extra point is up and good, 35-0. It is all Thornton Academy. You are listening here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. And we are broadcasting from the Mechanic Savings Bank broadcast booth, looking live from the Mechanic Savings broadcast booth. And today we are broadcasting from beautiful Bulow Stadium overlooking Back Bay here in Portland. And
the sun's back out.
Sun's coming back out again. It's a little bit windy.
It's playing peekaboo right now. First it's in, then it's out.
A couple sketchy clouds over there could be coming in, and last night was beautiful too. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better couple weeks.
Yeah, on a day that it was so hot during the day, it cooled off just enough to make it a playable football game, which is one of the things I like about Friday nights.
You were up in Auburn last night, right?
We were in Auburn. We saw Portland and EL.
It's a good Portland team.
Good Portland team. I think they got some of the rust out. They were upset by Scarborough last week, but they had most of their mojo back last night.
After being upset there in week 1, that was our first game of the week here in the Portland market, was that Scarborough and Portland game. And Portland was held scoreless in the second half. This one's going to go all the way back to Benedict after the kickoff. He's going to try and take it right up the middle, go out across the 25-yard line to about the 28-yard line. And, Coach, if you're Cheverus, you're just probably looking at little things. Yeah, let's get a first down, and then let's get another first down and start to build these drives.
We talked about this doing EL and Lewiston games the last couple of years because they haven't been particularly competitive. And that's exactly right. You're looking for small victories here. Let's win the next 3 minutes. Let's get 3 first downs. and you working on your offense. It looks to me to be a pretty new offense. So let's make no mistakes in it. So again, you try to pick out some small things that you can do. What you don't want them to do, which we talked about before, is lay down. Because if they lay down now, are they going to lay down 2 weeks from now when the going gets tough? You don't want your team even thinking in that regard. And yet, you don't want to blister them too much because you will discourage them.
Connett, the quarterback, drops over to the right, lobs that one, almost picked off, and it is picked off by Leverrier, the opposing quarterback to quarterback. This time he's playing safety, and he takes it out across the 35-yard line. And
looks like either guy could have taken that. It looks like the defender, Leverrier, he took it right out of his hands.
Well, and it seems like an unnecessary risk to take there, too. It's 35-0. I mean, I get that you're down big, but why are you lobbing the ball up into the air and making it kind of a 500, whoever wants to go up and get it?
One of the things I said as a opposing coach, well, I'll tell you in a minute, about John Wolfgram, and I'm not second-guessing Coach Vance, but
first down and 10, the guy who just picked off it is the quarterback here. He's lobbing it over to the right. That one, I think, was deflected, lost a lot of the velocity on it.
His arm got hit. I always said one of the things that you could be frustrated with John Wolfgang or admire him, if he was down like this, he would go to 4 plays. We're going to run these 4 plays. We're not going to run anything else. Get it in your head right now, and we're going to perfect these plays. And he wouldn't throw a crazy pass. He would run it up in there, punt it on 4th down, and play good defense and try to stay as close as he could, and he wouldn't give in. I don't care who he was playing. He would not give in.
Second down and 10 after the incomplete pass. This is going over to Rosario in the backfield. He sheds a couple tacklers, dives out a couple yards, but it'll be 3rd down and 8. Yeah, and that's the thing with Cheverus is that they weren't ever going to be like creative. Oh, here's all these different types of plays. They had 7 or 8 plays, but they ran them to perfection. And I think that's the thing where if you're Coach Vance here, and obviously his offense is a little different, but you really want to be able to execute these at a high level because that's how you win and lose football games, especially with this type of an offense.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, Coach Haley talks a lot about field position. Thornton Academy said tremendous field position.
That's how you really control a game. So 3rd down and 8 here. The handoff to Rosario. He's coming down, got good blocking, and he takes this one. Gone to the house. Touchdown, Thornton Academy. The route is on here in the second quarter, and it is 41-0 there. That is the 2nd touchdown of the day for Rosario as well.
It's just a jet sweep, and he beat the corner. And once he turned the corner, there was no question that he was gone, Ross. There was no question.
Good blocking up front, and that's where, when you can get those guards pulling and getting that second level, and you have the athletes behind them, that's where you see a lot of these wide open touchdowns. The extra point is up and good, and we'll take a break here on the ESPN Game of the Week. Come back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
7:21 remaining in the first half. Thornton Academy 42.
Wow.
No score for the Stags.
In the air here.
Back here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA on ESPN 970. It's 42-0 in the second quarter. Benedict takes back the kick, and he gets a good return there out towards the 40-yard line.
Yeah, just short. He started up the middle, and then he broke to the outside. He got some good blocking and good field position for Cheverus. So, again, let's play basic. Let's run your offense, see if we can't get some first downs. They've only had 1 first down.
Wow.
One first down in the first half. So, means your defense is on the field all the time. Means the other team's getting good field position because the punts haven't been very long. all the things that you'd make a list of what you don't want to have happen. They've all happened this first half for Cheverus.
I think it can't really get much worse if you're Cheverus, so you can only go up from here. This one's going to go to Benedict, and then he hands it off up the middle there. A little bit of tricks there, and coming up just a couple yards.
Inside counter, but could you hear Thornton Academy? Everybody over there was yelling counter. Everybody over there.
That was Griffin Watson.
Well-coached team.
Yeah, Coach Kiesel has just slowly built a contender that seems to get stronger every single year. And the last couple of years, they've won the state title. So don't know how much more comprehensive. Last year's game was really good in the state final with Portland. It was really close. And the year before, it was close with Wyndham, too. And all 4 of the state champions repeated last year, which was an interesting dynamic. So 2nd down and 6. And the quarterback kept that one, and he just got eaten up. A couple Trojans there. It looked like that was Xavier Leclerc who came in with the first 10 contact.
He was trying to get to the counter pass. Just they ran that counter before, but his tight end didn't get out. I don't know. I didn't notice. I was watching the run fake, and when I looked up to find the receiver, he didn't get out from the line of scrimmage. They must have held him up, so there was nobody to throw the ball to. Boy, that as a quarterback, that's a sick feeling when you stand there all coming and there's nobody out there.
Well, and it's tough. I mean, when you run this type of an offense, offensive line play is probably right at the top of the list of things that you need to have happen. And when you have 5 or 6 guys in the backfield on almost every single play, there's not much you can do.
Yeah, the deception's great, but not if you can't block anybody because they never get a chance to get started.
And Benedict there stays on his feet once again, but he can only get back maybe a little bit over the line of scrimmage. Brings up a 4th down and another punt coming.
I think the cutback hurt him. He wouldn't have gotten the first down anyway, but I think he would have gained 4 or 5 more yards if he just kept running straight ahead.
So that'll bring out the punting unit here once again. 5:10 to go in the second quarter. And Thornton Academy with their 2 regular returners there, Bracamonte and Rosario. So all the starters are still out there for Thornton. And like you mentioned, you got to really get to the third quarter before you really start thinking about those type of things.
Absolutely.
Another punt, this one a little bit low. Bracamonte came in very strong there. Takes that one out close to the 50-yard line. And you mentioned this also, Coach, earlier. Has Thornton had a bad field position this game yet?
Well, the very first thing, and they didn't move it, and then they got the pass interference. So other than that, they have had tremendous field position, and they certainly have taken advantage of it. Not that they needed good field position, but they have looked like one of the top teams that they're expected to be.
Today's game is being brought to you by Maine Athletic Fundraising. No risk, no upfront costs, no minimums. Call Mark today at 468-1759 and take the first step in reaching your fundraising goals today online at maineaf.com. So we'll get another chance here to see this explosive Thornton Academy offense. The handoff up the middle. That time it was to C.J. Lebrec. And there's also, Coach, quite a few sophomores that are getting out there and playing for this Thornton team. And that's not only important this year, but by the time they become juniors and seniors, they're that much more
It's a nice mixture. A nice mixture of upperclassmen who've been there before and young kids who probably got some experience last year. And now they're seeing some of the bulk of the time, and means another year or 2 they're going to be really good.
So it's bringing up here as Thornton Academy was able to bring that one over half. First down here, look. LeCavier coming out to the outside, and he stays right up on his feet. LeVerriere, that is, and gains 16 there on first down, and he's very confident with his legs.
Yes, he does. He's got good quick feet and a nice sense for when to wiggle and when to run straight ahead, and he's done both very well. Right there, he was pinned into the backfield, and he just simply worked his way around that defender and broke into the secondary for the first down.
I think he's got a good knack for avoiding contact, too. You see him kind of lower that shoulder or give up a little bit, run out of bounds. Obviously a big kid, but he knows he doesn't want to get hit. So Rosario is spread out to the left. Keep an eye on him. LeVerriere hands that one over to Lebrec, who stays up on his feet, and he is just running roughshod right through, up right down to the 1-yard line. And it'll be first and goal from the 1 yard line off a very powerful run there from C.J. Lebrec.
Wow, 24-yard run, and they made it look easy. Just the read.
Well,
Good
and how many
blocking.
tackles did he just break
Yeah,
there?
no.
5 or 6?
Yeah. Well, he's got good enough speed that when he starts to run to the outside, they've got to overcommit to try to pen him in on the sideline, and then he can cut back on them. So, good running back.
Thornton Academy is certainly a pleasure to watch here as they go back into the stacked formation, run heavy. The handoff to left-hand side there into the back of the end zone for a touchdown. That is Cameron Hood, and he gets himself on the board, and it is 48-0 here. Still the first half.
You know, I'm speechless. I mean, there's not much else we can say. You know, they have looked fantastic, and Cheverus has not been equal. I mean, physically, they just have not been equal to the task, no question.
So the extra point comes up, and it is good here, and that'll make it 49-0, 3:23 to go in the second quarter. And I think if you're driving around right now listening to this game on the radio and you haven't had a chance to watch this Thornton Academy team play, they've got plenty of times left to play, and they're certainly worth watching.
Yeah, they're exciting. You just don't know with their size and speed. Somebody busts through the hole, and boy, I mean, the whole idea of running the spread read from the spread formation is you spread the defense out, and when you ride somebody up in there, whoever, either they give it off or they keep it, once they break in the secondary, if they beat one of the linebackers, everybody else is gone. Mm-hmm. So that's why you see those long runs right up the middle, because there's nobody left to defend. They're all spread out with those pass receivers. So they've put together the personnel to run this kind of an offense without question, and they're doing it very well.
Today's game is being brought to you by mbr.org. You can, if you're watching right now on the YouTube channel with the video stream, there will be an high-quality HD version of this one, probably up sometime tonight. So you can come back and watch it again in HD. Maybe tomorrow, as Joe just mentioned to me. Joe's got a poker game.
Not a bad return out to about just inside the 30-yard line, about the 29. Well, depending where the point of the ball is, I guess the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and it's just been it's such a challenge for Cheverus. They haven't been able to get anything going offensively. I mean,
yeah,
one first down.
One first down, and with an sort of what you would call a unconventional offense. I don't know where they go to. You know, if they're running the spread, you could say, okay, run your read, and maybe the quarterback can keep it or play action. It's just unconventional enough that I'm not sure that I know. There's the inside counter again.
And that was handed off to Griffin Watson, who maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage there. And, Coach, a lot of times you can learn quite a bit about your team when they're put in these type of positions.
No question. Nobody wants to be there, but when you're there, you can look in their eyes and find out who's really frustrated about the whole thing, and they want to knock some heads and whatever, and really get in there. And others, they're looking at the toes and looking at the ground, and you want to know whether they're going to be able to come back from this. So you do learn a lot of lessons. You learn lessons about your team when you're on the other side of this. Are you going to cheap shot somebody? Are you going to play classy? Or what are you going to do with this big lead?
Well, and you want to keep yourself sound defensively, offensively,
sure.
Execute. This one's going to be kept by Connaught, the quarterback, and he's going to get dragged down by the opposing quarterback. And he is a big kid. I mean, you see him out there on defense as well. He's playing a hybrid safety linebacker type role, and that shows you that he is truly a special athlete playing both sides. We've seen him offensively quite a bit, but he's got an interception defensively as well.
Yeah, he's a big kid, and he can run, he can throw. I mean, we've seen him throw some just terrific long passes. You know, the test a lot of times is, they always say, can he throw the short one? Well, we haven't seen that yet, but when he throws the long one, it's been right on the money. It really has.
Yeah, he had a beautiful 35-yard pass to Rosario there earlier in the first quarter to make this a 21-0 game. Handoff this time is to Benedict. Actually back to, Benedict, and he maybe got a couple yards there. I think he might actually lost a few.
So it was third down again, so it's gonna make it fourth down, and there we go. They're going to kick again. And unless it's a great kick, Thornton's going to have the ball almost at midfield again, coming right back in.
Well, and how do you get a 49-0 game at the half? You have one team that is moving the chains the whole time, and the other team can't use up any of that time. And that's the formula where you get this type of a lopsided game at the half.
No question.
So the punt, Cheverus' punter has been pretty active. Rosario catches this one. He goes down the left-hand side, stays up on his feet. He's looking to take this one down, and he does across the 30, gets it into the 26-yard line. That was Johnny Rosario, who has been everywhere all over the field, and he's showing you again that playmaking ability.
Every phase of the game, Russ, the kicking game, they've got an outstanding kicker. We haven't seen the punter much.
Yeah.
I don't think they have punted. And their return game is terrific with Rosario. I mean, they just are a well-rounded team.
Yeah, well-oiled machine. They're going to throw this one over to the left. That's Bracamonte going there along the left-hand side. And he's down inside the 10-yard line. That's going to be a first down and goal coming up.
Just a slip screen. You know, everybody's focused on Rosario, so we're going to throw it to the wide receiver on the other side and see if we can get a block out in front of him. He used his block. You notice he set it up by starting inside and then breaking outside behind that block for a nice 15-yard gain and another first down.
And that is another one of Anthony Bracamonte, a sophomore, getting playing time here for Thornton Academy, and he's been out there quite a bit. Leverrier, he's got it back to his left. Rosario is out to the right. And he'll take the snap and hand it off there to Lebrec, his running back. And he can't get much there. Good stand on first down. And we got 33 seconds to go here in the second quarter. A timeout is going to be taken.
Timeout by Thornton. They're going to try to get one, see if they can't pop another one in just before the half.
So second and goal here coming up. And, I mean, plenty of time. The good thing is Thornton hasn't had to take a lot of timeouts here, as they have 33.7 seconds to go. And if you're Thornton, you really want to keep this thing going here. I mean, you don't want
again, you can't tell your kids not to play hard. And I'm a firm believer you can't take your starters out in the first half. It's not fair to them. They want to play. And if you've got a tough game in next week or 2 weeks, whatever, they need to have been ready to play a full game. So you've got to play them into the third period, and I'm sorry that the score is out of hand. the former baseball coach at Oak Hill, Bill Fairchild, was so successful, he always says, hey, it's your job to keep the score down if you're playing defense.
Right. Well, and to a certain extent, if you're the guy that pulls his starters early, isn't that disrespectful to the other team, too?
Well,
because they do kind of have to understand that that's happening. And
I think there's a fine line. You don't want him to score 75 points, but by the same token, if he takes his starters out in the first period, that is kind of a slap in the face.
Well, and this is probably something that Coach Kiesel is going to have to deal with all year long. He's dealt with it for the last couple of years because, like you mentioned, if you do play your starters for a quarter and a half or 2 quarters all year long, then when they get themselves into a battle, they're only conditioned for 2 quarters,
especially when they
get
in the playoffs. The playoffs not going to be any shortened game. There's going to be full out. So, yeah, they think that that's easy when you're winning all the time. There are some other decisions you have to make.
So second and goal from the 9-yard line here as Thornton Academy tries to tack on another touchdown. The handoff up the middle there to Lebrec. He gets himself forward. The clock keeps ticking. Third down and goal coming up here. Thornton getting themselves set here quickly. Very quickly indeed. The snap over to Leverrier. He's going to lob it up into the middle. Rosario almost had it. It was almost picked off as well by Cheverus, and it's going to go out for an incompletion.
Yeah, they just went for the corner route, see if they can lay it up there, alley-oop. But again, this is a good drill for Thornton Academy, trying to get that 2-minute drill where the time's running out. We're going to use a timeout. Are we going to be able to line up on the line of scrimmage? These are things that you practice in practice, but there's nothing like the game to see how it really goes and whether you can keep your composure and so on. So they're going to take another timeout.
So Thornton's going to take another timeout here. 14 seconds to go in the first quarter or the first half of play, as Thornton Academy has shown you really every facet of it, because it's been through the air, it's been on the ground, it's been defensively, it's been with special teams. I haven't seen a weak point in this team so far.
Like I said, we didn't see the punter. Maybe the punter's terrible, but we haven't seen him yet, so it's hard to say. But, the game last night, I want to go back to that one. I started talking about it. EL played a great first half. They made a drive at the end of the half. It was 14-14. We said, boy, they're going to have the momentum coming out. There is a crazy tip pass for a long 40-yard touchdown, a blocked kick, and a short kick, and suddenly the game's out of hand. I mean, it changed on a dime, and that's what high school sports. You have no idea what's going to happen or what they're going to do, and it's the only profession where you as the adult put your career and your reputation in the hand of 14 to 18-year-olds.
There's a lot of trust involved.
You have no idea what they're going to do.
And they're not going to go for it on fourth down here. The field goal comes up, and it's good. And I believe that was Leverrier who kicked the field goal as well. A do-it-all type guy for this Thornton Academy team. And now they've got themselves 52-0 in the second quarter. And this is Cheverus, too.
Yeah, this isn't some fly-by-night outfit. Although I think we expected that they I almost called up Lee Goldberg when they did their Friday night lights and said that they thought all three prognosticators thought Cheverus was going to be one of the top teams. And I said, no, they're not. They're not going to be. They've lost too many people. There's a coaching change. Yeah. And I think it's really hard. Nothing against John, but it's pretty hard when you're a coach to give up a really, really good team and retire. You're just not going to do that. And so this is a tough pill for Cheverus, and they haven't been in this spot for a long, long time.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Cheverus was on the complete opposite of this formula where they were blowing everybody out en route to those back-to-back state championships. But really since then, it's been Thornton. Yeah,
we did a whole bunch of games for Joe back then, Coach Ailey and I, and it was just the opposite. They were naming the score on a regular basis.
And systematically just breaking down teams. Yeah. So 52-0 here as Thornton Academy is in full control. You see there's a little bit of a debate going on between the two school bodies down here, between the Cheverus students and what is it, a dance-off going on down there?
I don't know exactly what it is. They're trying to explain the rules here right now. Somebody's telling everybody what we're going to do, or is it a race? I can't tell what it is.
I have no idea what it is.
They're having a good time, whatever it is. Oh, yeah, they're doing crazy moves. Oh, yeah. Everybody's having a good time with it. One girl is putting on a show. She really, woo.
That's hilarious. And they took a knee there at the half to bring us to the half. 52-0. That is not a miscue. That is officially what the score is on the scoreboard right now. And it's been lopsided. I mean, it's been as lopsided football as you can imagine.
Yeah, we haven't seen Thornton other than that very first two plays when they couldn't run the ball at all, and then they got the pass interference. I thought it was a break, but anyway, a pass interference call, and they haven't looked back. They have done everything right. Cheverus hasn't been able to mount any kind of an attack, so their defense has played the whole game. They really have played the whole game.
Well, and if you're Coach Vance here, obviously a tough position. He's in his first year here being a head coach. What do you say to the kids right now? I mean, obviously this is not a tough talk to have.
Yeah, you want to talk to them about the fact that you're playing for Cheverus, that you got to have some school pride. Whether we're going to win the game or not is probably not in question, but what we do need to do is take pride in how we carry out our assignments, how we represent our school. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things there where you appeal to why they're playing the sport, and then again, I think you try to develop an offense where you're going to take very few chances. You're going to do fundamentally sound things. I think a little shorter pass game. Most of their passes, they've only tried 3 or 4, but they've all been long bombs, and they need to throw the ball short. Just establish something where they can get. I mean, seriously,
start somewhere.
A second first down. They have one first down.
Yeah, it's been about as lopsided a half as you can imagine. Sunday River Brewing Company is hosting a National Cheeseburger Day event on September 18th. That's coming up in just over a week. Come up to celebrate at Sunday River Brewing Company in Bethel and check out their 5-pound burger challenge. Fox and Friends will be there as well. Yeah, that's making me hungry making this read right now.
We've got whoopie pies for halftime, by the way.
That's September 18th. For more info and to get on their social media links, visit SundayRiverBrewingCompany.com. And we will take this one to the half right now. And we'll have Michael Hoffer on in a couple minutes to come up from the forecaster, so we can talk about this Thornton Academy Cheverus game. So don't go anywhere. 4 Sports will be on Michael Hoffer. You are listening to the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Scored all 8 times they had the ball.
I thought it was going to be a close game there for a second, and then that pass interference, which I didn't think was pass interference.
Then it's 42-0, instead, whatever.
And they just keep pouring it on, too. There's no stopping.
Yeah, I think the second half they'll call off the dogs. I hope.
The game last night was a good one, though. I think Bonnie Eagle will be able to stick with them, too. I don't know if they can for the whole game.
See. Yeah. At 340 total for TA. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you include penalties and stuff. I know.
The Nationals.
You never know with him.
The Moody's.
Hey, how about them Yankees, huh?
Is this how you take your notes for the games?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one was for stats and one for running.
Oh, okay.
It's not a whole.
It works for you.
It works for me.
Is this your last game for today?
Yes, mercifully. I did a field hockey game this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had enough. Is this on 970?
Yes,
It
9:70 a.m. Yep. And we've got the video stream.
Okay.
I think this might be the last spot. There's so much stuff going on here. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's come a long way with this technology. From 2 fat guys and a laptop,
Yeah, we were going to do Bonnie Eagle Bangor next week, but now I think we're going to do Biddeford.
That's a much better choice.
So I think we're coming on. And we're back here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. Also on the video stream there, Russ Thompson here joined by Michael Hoffer, the forecaster on Twitter at 4 Sports. And pretty lopsided first half there.
Yeah, I don't think it could get much more lopsided than 52-0. And this Thornton Academy team is a machine. They just are. They reload. I realize they might be a little weaker in some spots maybe than the last 2 years, but offensively this is still a dynamic attack. And 8 possessions, 7 touchdowns, 1 field goal. Cheverus, they're playing hard. They're just outmanned out there, and it's just it's a tough situation for them to be in. I thought early in the game Cheverus was hanging tough a little bit, and then you had kind of a dubious pass interference call, to be honest. That set Thornton Academy up for the first touchdown, and then the levee broke. Even with that, TA probably has a pretty healthy lead. But you listen to the Cheverus coaches down on the sidelines where I am, and they're pleased with their kids' effort when it comes to competing. They're just outmatched. It's what it is.
Well, and I know you looked at some of the stats there, and it's about as mismatched as you can. 1 first down for Cheverus as opposed to Thornton Academy, who's had 7 scoring drives here.
Yeah, they've had 8 scoring drives.
Right.
They've gone up and down the field. They've benefited from a short field a couple of times. But first half yardage offense, I've got TA with 340 yards to 27 for Cheverus. And, this quarterback, Austin McCrum, was fabulous. And, he will always live in Thornton Academy lore. But I wouldn't say that position's taken a big dip this season. And Leverrier, first half, I had him for 164 yards, 2 touchdowns on 10 carries. And then he also was very effective through the air. Rosario having a big game, 6 catches, a couple touchdowns, and a run on that jet sweep. This is the kid who came up from Massachusetts. So even on a quote-unquote rebuilding year, Thornton Academy is still an absolute juggernaut.
Well, and add in the interception by Leverrier
right,
as well.
And another one, sure.
Two sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And
Doing
talking
it all.
about Cheverus, obviously replacing Coach Wolfgram, and Coach Vance comes in here. He was a longtime coach within the program, but this is obviously a pretty big challenge in week 2 to have Thornton Academy come in here. But a lot of times this is really when you learn the most about your team, when they're in these tough situations.
Yeah, it's a great point. I hearken back to the 2014 Patriots when they got blown out on Monday night in Kansas City, and Coach Belichick was actually happy after the game with the way that the guys played down the stretch, and he knew he had a team that was capable of doing great things. They went on to win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's easy to do well when you're up 52-0 and everything's going your way. This is much more of a character test, I think, for the Stags. And like I said, they are playing hard. You're going to see them play hard regardless of what happens the rest of this afternoon. Certainly, they're not going to win today, and this has been a really tough matchup here the last couple of years. Last year, they lost 57-0 down here. And, an interesting sidebar to this is 3 years ago, the last time Thornton played here, because the last couple of games have been down in Saco, but the last time Thornton played here, Cheverus beat them 56-7. So I guarantee you the coaches and any seniors who might have been around for that game have not forgotten that. And I'm not saying they're going to run up the score any more than it is, but I think they're taking great pleasure in handing what might be Cheverus. It might be their worst ever home loss before this is said and done.
I remember that game too, 56-0. Do you think Thornton Academy is odds-on favorite? And I know you were at the Bonnie Eagle Scarborough game last night. Both those teams are very solid and in that division as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard all summer and heading into the preseason how Bonnie Eagle's the team to beat, and I have great respect for Coach Cooper. I think it's a fabulous program. It's been the best program over the last dozen years, and I think they have a good team. I saw them last night at Scarborough. They didn't dominate. They weren't quite as strong as some people suggested. For my money, until someone beats Thornton Academy, they're the team to beat. And I realize they have some changes. I realize they have some holes to fill. But I'm telling you, this team keeps winning. They keep filling holes. And, winning 3 in a row in Class A, it hasn't been done. These guys have their eye on the prize. And who knows, if they win a 3rd in a row, who knows where this is going to stop. I mean, it's going to be many more probably going forward. So, presuming everyone stays healthy, and that's always a big factor in football.
It's only the second week.
Presuming they stay healthy, look out.
That's Michael Hoffer from The Forecaster. You can follow him along on Twitter at 4Sports. And that'll bring us to, we'll come back after a couple minutes, come back here on the ESPN Game of the Week, the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, Michael.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully next time I'll have a better game.
I thought this was going to be at least like a decent game. I don't know. I didn't
I didn't think it would be this bad. I was saying it's not going to be 57-0 Cheverus is going to win. I thought it would be in between.
Winning ticket in today's 50-50 lottery round. Please take out your tickets.
I'm not really all that surprised, but once I last team,
Today's 50-50 winner will take home $265 and a couple of new friends. It's a red ticket, 5907. Last 3 is 119. 119. 5907 119. If you have the winning ticket, bring it to the press box.
Probably just relieved that he doesn't have to
5907-119. Thank you.
Apparently he drank a bunch of coffee and smokes a lot of cigarettes. He's hydrating. But they don't, I mean, they revived when he was conscious. That's not serious.
So like right as the game is about to start, Russ, I'm gonna be taking off.
5907-119.
Give him a cue. Be like, all right, start recording. And I told him to just keep it recorded the whole time.
Yeah, you don't need to turn it off.
And he'll be fine. And when you do it like this, keep it more like this. You want to keep the players getting dehydrated enough being even though you don't want to have
A quarter high, young lady, was $265.
Over there?
Yep. This is, I got that or I got red velvet.
I'll take it.
Barry Miller says well to the new friend.
I remember last time I had a wood.
Like I said, bring up the carpini.
They can't get much uglier, can they?
Yeah, we get some kids hurt, I guess.
And keep me posted for next week. Good luck. Good seeing you.
I think if it's up to you, I probably want to go to bed first.
You have stuff all over your face. Oh, I gotta go. 55.
Yeah. You want a couple for you and your wife?
No, I will see when. I'm not gonna be greedy. I'll see what. Thank you so much.
Right.
Seeing you, man. I'm on the play both. Yeah. Dave, good seeing you. You too. All right, man. I'll be in touch. Oh,
See you guys.
can you pass that song link, the poppy link to Mike? Did you watch it yet? Which one? High school kids did that. I texted it to you.
Yeah.
Can you send that out to everybody? We're trying to get it to go viral.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
What's wrong? That's the Wyndham game?
Hey, Maddie, I know your body is a temple, but
If I do, I'll just go right off the rails.
Maddie's body is a temple these days.
It's a temple. Yeah, it's
Temple of Doom? What? That's
So,
So, I don't know. I think
we're back here at the half on the MBR Game of the Week, presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. Russ Thompson, Coach Wing here at the half. And we just got to talk to Michael Hoffer of The Forecaster. You should follow him on Twitter because he's the best at 4Sports. And I guess we'll see here, Coach, because this could go two ways. It could continue to go the way that it went in the first half, or you could see Cheverus come back here and start to really get themselves back in this game.
Well, you'd like to think that they're going to show us that they've got some mettle, that they they need to do some fundamentally sound things and stay with it and not get any more discouraged probably than they are already. Not sure as I've been in this spot, but I think that I've been behind certainly. But you want to make sure that your kids play within themselves, that they stay focused, that they realize, as I said, that they're playing for Cheverus High School. They're representing their school. Their folks are all here. They don't want to lay down. They want to fight. They're not going to win the game. Okay, get over that, But we can maybe shut them out in the third period. Set small, attainable goals and see if you can make those.
Yeah, I think it starts with putting one foot in front of the other and just
Sure.
I think any little improvement here because, you just got outgained, 400 and something to 27. You had one first down.
One first down.
They had 8 scoring drives. So you can approach it by looking at this at 0-0 at the half and just try and you're going to learn a lot about yourself if you're Cheverus in this game. You're going to learn because there's really not a tougher matchup that's lurking in the state of Maine than Thornton Academy. So from here, I guess in a lot of aspects, it can't get any worse than it really has been.
I think the other thing that we always talk about when Mike and I are on the air when a game gets like this, the other thing that's always there in the back of your mind, we talked about you got to play your players for at least the half and maybe a couple series into the second half. And then you're not going to tell your young kids not to play hard. You want them to play hard. You don't want any of your kids to learn how to play half speed. But there's been back and forth. You know, Cheverus went through a pretty good streak here, and I'll tell you what, there was some pretty high scores, and people have pretty long memories. And so there's this tendency to, well, when they had the horses, they beat us 60, whatever. And so suddenly you get feeling like, well, I've got to do that. Well, Coach and I, being old coaches, would say, no, you don't. You're not going to tell your kids not to play hard, but I'm not sure you got to be throwing the bombs in the late in the third quarter or halfway through the fourth quarter, even if it is your backup quarterback. Well, I think there's things that you can do and still play hard.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because it wasn't that long ago. Michael Hoffer just mentioned at the half. It was 3 years ago that Cheverus beat Thornton Academy 56-7 on this very field.
Sure,
so
we were here, I believe.
Yeah, I think I was here too. So there were freshmen on that team that are seniors now. So it's not like that far off. And obviously the coaching staff was all here. This has been one of the better rivalries in the state over the last couple of years. So it's obviously at a different point in the rivalry, but I think when you have two rivals, can you really run it up that much? Because, I mean, Cheverus is a quality team. They're just getting outplayed right now.
Sure. Yep.
They wouldn't want anybody to take it easy on them as well.
No, I don't. I like I said, I don't want to. I certainly don't want to sound like I want somebody to go easy or lay down or not try hard. But I think there's a difference between I'm going to run the read and we're going to run our option and do all that. But I'm not going to, in halfway through the fourth quarter, leading by 60 points, try to throw bombs up into the end zone and see if we can run it up. I think there's a difference.
The NBR Game of the Week brought to you by OA. A reminder that our games are presented by OA, Orthopedic Associates, board certified, nationally recognized. That's OA, online at orthoassociates.com. Cheverus' first chance to get some points on the board here in the second half of play. First down and 10, and they've got 5 in the backfield there. The snap goes right to Benedict, and he gets himself out, and the ball did come loose after he was on the ground, so no fumble there. A good start on first down. Positive yards.
Yeah, and and he almost, seriously, he was a tackle away from breaking that for 15, 18 yards. So, again, I go back to your fundamentals, run your base offense, and try to get as many first downs as you can and see what happens.
You can follow us along on MBR Radio at Twitter at MBR Radio or MBR Maine to get all the latest updates. MBR has you covered across the state. Benedict takes this one and then hands it off. It looked like that was Watson, who can't get much going there. Maybe a gain of 1, so it'll set up a 3rd down and 7 coming up.
The old counter crisscross, only normally you would turn as the quarterback and hand it off. This is a shotgun, but you could hear everybody over the yelling counter. This is a well-coached, well-drilled team. They know what to look for. As soon as they saw the wingback coming, that defensive end and the corner on that side is supposed to yell counter, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, you can hear it all the way up here,
We could hear it up here.
That's communication. That's a big part of the game. Let's see if Cheverus can get their second first down of the game here. 3rd down and 8 from their own 30-yard line. The direct snap, and he gets decked right in the backfield. Not much to go there. That looked like that was Brandon Harmon who came in for the tackle, and the punting unit will come out for Cheverus, and Rosario and Bracamonte are out there deep to receive.
Yeah, so I think it's the beat a dead horse that we talked about in the first half. No first down, so they've got to kick it away. They haven't shown a propensity to have long kicks, and so suddenly you're back on defense again.
And it's a low snap there, but great job by the punter to get that one up. Not much of a punt there, but like we mentioned, the low snap, and Thornton is going to get terrific field position here once again.
It's not even to the first down marker. Inside the 40-yard line, it's discouraging.
Yeah, that was, I think, an 8-yard punt there?
Yeah, not one thing has gone well for Cheverus today.
Well, you think with Thornton Academy, it looks like they're going to have all their starters coming out here. Just imagine at practice the competition level that this team must have, because, there's plenty of kids that are sitting on the bench right now that would be playing for a lot of other teams.
Could be,
must be crazy, because that's the thing. You can't get complacent in your practices, so I'm sure Thornton Academy is a lot of fun to watch. Breck takes this one up, LeBreck, that is, up 5-6 yards on first down, and it's just so easy for them to create positive yards on first down.
Yeah, well, I think the read is generally supposed to do that. You're leaving one man unblocked. Everybody else has got an angle on somebody, so you have some pretty good running lanes. And if the quarterback doesn't think he's going to get positive yards, he doesn't hand it to him. So if the quarterback makes the right decision, you should get some positive yardage.
You're watching the video stream online. If you're listening, you can go on to NBR.org and check it out. Lebrecht takes this one over to the sideline. Touchdown, Thornton Academy makes it 58-0 there on a 25-yard scamper by C.J. Lebrecht, the sophomore, another sophomore here, and that one looked very easy as well.
Just a basic read, and he broke to the outside where his blocking was, and way in the end zone. I mean, they made it look, he was untouched, made it look easy.
It's got to be frustrating for Cheverus, but Thornton keeps on trucking here. 7:48 to go in the third quarter. It's 58-0. Thornton Academy in complete control here, and they come on looking for the extra point. They're looking over to the sideline, though. So, yeah, somebody is clearly not out there. Looks like that is
coach's nightmare. You don't want to waste a timeout because somebody forgot to go out.
Luckily, they had enough time. The snap, and this one is up and good on the extra point there by Cameron Cordarte. And 59-0 as Thornton didn't waste much time there as C.J. Lebrecht brought that one to the house at 25 yards.
But again, an 8-yard punt, a fantastic field position inside the 40-yard line, and he breaks the second play all the way. You know, it's a recipe for disaster. If you're not going to get first downs and keep your defense off the field, then you take the chance that they're going to do something like that because they've got it rolling right now.
One of our sponsors today is Mechanic Savings Bank. They broadcast bank is brought to you by Mechanic Savings Bank, and today we are at Bulos Stadium. It's still pretty nice out here. I don't know if the rain is going to start up, but the wind has been a factor all day.
Breezy, and it's dropped about, 15 degrees maybe since we've been here. You're in a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, nice run.
And taking it out. And Rosario almost tacked him up, but that was Ryan Benedict. A great start there, and this is the type of thing that could jumpstart some momentum for Cheverus.
Just what they needed, maybe get themselves started. 43-yard return.
And that was Rylan Benedict, the senior. And he was able to get that one out across half. And now, is this the first time that Cheverus has been over half?
Yes.
Because they've only got one first down, and I think that was in their own end. So
yes.
Uncharted territory here for Cheverus. They're looking to remove the donut from the scoreboard, 59-0, and just get some momentum going to next week.
Yeah, some first downs.
So we'll see what they have in store. The snap, Benedict hands it off up the middle and getting jacked up there. Looked like that was Ronald Bradeen who was able to make that tackle.
It must be that the spotters upstairs are saying we're just missing a little bit on that counter because they've run it 2 out of the last 3 plays to see if they can't pop something. So they must feel that it's there, and they may run that and run it well here before long.
2 of the better programs in the state. If you look over the last 10 years or so, these teams have dominated Class A level, and they're matched up right now, but it's a different point in the rivalry as Thornton Academy is the far superior team here today. High snap there, but it's able to be picked up by Benedict, but he's not able to get much as, again, that Thornton Academy defense was swarming.
Yeah, they got a nice return, but again, I think when they have to go up against that powerful defensive line, look at those guys across the front. They're big, they're strong, looks like they're pretty fast. The holes close very quickly, and you don't have much time for the play to be anything other than straight ahead.
Well, and I made this point earlier. Who are the linebackers and who are the defensive line? Because they all look the same size and they're matched up right behind them.
Yeah, their linebackers are huge.
This has got to be the biggest team in the state. Benedict takes the direct snap there, and once again, I mean, he can't even get to the line of scrimmage before he's getting blown up, and that'll bring up 4th down.
So they continue that they haven't had a first down.
It's tough sledding.
That's a recipe for disaster. There isn't any question about that.
Saturday afternoon here from Bulow Stadium, one of the better venues here in the state of Maine. And we are broadcasting live here on 970 AM, the MBR Game of the Week.
Nice kick.
And this one is down. And the punt is off and good.
That was really a pretty darn good punt.
They get it down.
35-yarder. So they do have the option, the mercy rule they call it, of running time in the second half if it's this kind of a score. And kind of keep an eye on it. I wasn't paying attention last time because we didn't see any passes, so the clock was running anyway. So I think they're probably going to run the clock from here on.
And we'll get another chance to see this Thornton Academy offense, led by Michael Leverrier, that is.
Oh, looks like a new quarterback, number 14. Oh.
And getting all the way up here and down across midfield. That was Eric Hyman, a junior running back. And Thornton keeps on trucking.
The new quarterback is Will Mitchell. 44-yard run, and they bring him in, and it looks like the same thing all over again.
So they did finally make that change. We're back here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA right here on ESPN 970. A big gain there by Eric Hyman, the junior running back. And as Coach just mentioned, they've made a change at the quarterback position too, so starting to make some of those substitutions here. And it's actually been a quick third quarter compared to the first and second.
I think it's running time, so that's the mercy rule, and I think that's good for both teams. You don't want somebody to get hurt in a game that's been over for a long time.
So Will Mitchell, and Coach, that's a freshman quarterback in there that's playing. I mean, that's a little bit unheard of to be playing at this level.
The thing is, if you're going to run this kind of an offense, everybody from middle school, well, even before that, needs to run it. Those teams like Levitt and whatever that have been doing this a while, they never take they pretty much never take a snap out of center. Everybody's in the shotgun. And so, they've all gotten in the habit of that's how we're going to run our offense, and that's what they do.
Yeah, and that's a great point, too, to have the feeder systems. And, again, this is Hyman, and he's able to gain 5 or 6 yards there. And with some of the backups in there, Thornton is still continuing to drive right down the field.
And then you face the same thing. I think Cheverus has, too. I see a pretty small cornerback in here, number 4. It looks like a pretty young kid. When you put your subs in, is the other team going to put theirs in? Because what you don't want is a freshman quarterback going up against all seniors, So there's a lot that goes into the thinking when the game is this far to hand this early.
If Will Mitchell is a freshman, he is a big freshman there to come into this one. Does not look like it. He takes this one over to the left and gains the first down. The freshman quarterback, who probably is the future. I mean, McCrum played 3 years as a starter before he went off. And we were also talking about Leverrier, who finally gets a breather here, but they're in good hands this year.
There was an interesting article in the Sun Journal either yesterday or the day before. There was some quotes from Hathaway, who really was one of the early guys to adopt this spread offense. The colleges have been using it for a while. And he said what they say is what happens is your top athletes come out because they know they're going to be put in situations where they're not just pounding the ball and whatever, where they're out there. And a guy like Rosario gets a chance to show how good he is. And you got a quarterback that can run, throw, and whatever, and that's what he wants to do. So he doesn't want to just hand off. He wants to be able to run with it, too. So this offense brings out those top athletes.
Well, and it's interesting, too, with talking with Michael Hoffer at the half. Rosario is a transfer from up in Massachusetts, so they were lucky to throw him into the fold with already this juggernaut that they brought back.
Well,
from
I've
last
said
year.
because these are two private schools facing each other, but I oftentimes get frustrated with that. When I was president of the NPA, I formed a committee to look at the private school participation because they take your kid from your town and then beat you with them. That can get discouraging for a team, and the opposing team. Oh, nice run.
And Mitchell's going to take this one down, right down to the goal line, 2-3 yards out. But that'll bring us to the end of the third quarter of action right here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA on ESPN 970. We'll be back in a minute after this for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's a frustration.
And we cut out there for a little bit, so that was why. Yeah. Academy, and he's able to get that one in the end zone. That was Will Mitchell, and now it's 65-0. And
even though they're playing against Cheverus subs also, it didn't look like they dropped back much. He looked pretty good.
Well, and he looks really big for a freshman,
he's a big
too.
kid.
So
He's a big kid.
I think that'll be fun to watch him over the next couple of years. And I'm sure if you're Coach Kiesel and you get one of those kids as a freshman, you're just salivating at that and thinking ahead to the future. And this program does not show any signs of slowing down.
No, not a bit.
So 65-0 after the extra point is coming up here. And this one is a blowout. I think we can say that for sure. And they're not going to kick the extra point. They're just going to kneel down there. So we might have actually hit that imaginary tipping point.
I'm not sure about that one. If you've got a young kicker, I think the other coach
what
would say
difference
let him
does
kick.
1 point
let him
make
kick,
either?
You know. But again, this is pretty lopsided as it gets, especially for teams that have been pretty good for a while.
Well, and Thornton does have a good kicker too. He hasn't missed at all here today, so that's another
plenty of work.
Part of he's certainly been up there quite a bit. So we'll see. Over the next 11 minutes, can Cheverus get themselves on the board here? This has got to be one of the tougher games that this team is going to play. Probably the toughest game all year long.
8 extra points and a field goal for the kicker.
So that's, I think he probably got enough work in.
Got his letter today, didn't he? Earned his letter.
The ball bounces in front. Benedict picks it up. As the Cheverus faithful are still cheering people on here. And this one is just one more quarter to go. Looks like Cheverus has kept in most of their starters, though. Haven't seen really anybody come out. Thornton Academy looks to be making massive changes on defense now.
I think there's young kids, 40's out, Benedict is out. I think looks like 12 is going to be the quarterback now. And this may be a little more conventional offense. We'll have to see.
And Thornton has certainly made some substitutions. Their defense looks quite a bit smaller right now.
Quite a bit small, but they're still pretty good size.
So we'll see. And still trying to figure out who's on the defense there is Thornton Academy. And it doesn't make much of a difference there as they're able to track down in the backfield there for no gain.
I think they were one short. Anyway, look, 25 just came in. So you think you missed that play, buddy. You're a little bit late. So we're not going to see any passes probably anyway, but definitely running time. It's the mercy rule.
When does that come into effect? Is it 50
second
points?
half.
Okay.
Mike, what's the number of points? Is it mutually agreed upon?
35 points.
35, according to our expert, Matty Boutwell.
The executive producer here today,
yes.
Matty Boutwell.
By the way, I wanted to ask him if I'd been on at halftime. Do we know what's growing inside that beard? It's been there for a while now. He's shaking. He doesn't have any idea what's in there.
Are you
hummingbirds?
Are you jealous of his bird? A beard, not bird.
I've had a beard before. Problem with my beard is it's so white I look like Santa Claus.
You get easily mistaken.
That's right.
Can't really walk around town when everybody thinks you're Santa Claus.
When I was principal at Levitt, I played Santa Claus for the elementary school. Wore my glasses down the end of my nose. It was pretty interesting. I had the full outfit and everything.
65-0 here. 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And Cheverus is still looking for, their second first down of the game? Because they still only had that first down.
That's correct.
And Thornton Academy is showing no signs of slowing down. The punt unit's going to come out here on fourth down.
You know, this is territory that Cheverus has not been in a long, long time. You know, they had a little spell, like all schools do, although the private schools have a little less of those spells than the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
But this is uncharted territory for them to be. 2 years ago, like I say, down there, Thornton whipped them pretty good, but generally they've been in most games.
The punt here, it's going to, I think, get under the wind quite a bit there. But still, I mean, another possession, and Thornton Academy gets it right at midfield.
Right at midfield, so outstanding field position again.
And now Coach Kiesel is going to get a chance to get some of his backups into the game. But honestly, Coach, from what we've seen, there hasn't been much of a drop-off there.
They really, Mitchell looked outstanding if he's a freshman quarterback, and they looked very good. And, again, running the same offense. If you're going to put in the read, then everybody's going to run that offense from shotgun. And very seldom do they go in under center.
Yeah, Mitchell's only one of two freshmen on the roster. And this time, that's actually Athen Gikas in there, so a sophomore. So I think they've gone to their third-string quarterback here.
The things that have changed over time is the rosters used to be huge. I mean, I can remember in Skowhegan, I had 80 kids, sophomore and above. We never saw a freshman. They never played on the varsity. When they're coming in,
80 kids. Wow, that's
80 kids.
That's
now,
a lot. Yeah.
Now, none of the. I mean, it's just the way things are. The rosters are, 35 to 50, and that includes the freshmen usually. And you try to fit in some freshman schools. Not so much with these size schools. They're going to have a full freshman team. Oh,
Hyman takes this one over to the right. He gains 12-13 on first down and moves the chains. And, yeah, I mean, for your, third or fourth option out of the backfield, that's very fluid.
Yeah, and, whether the hole is there or not, the knowledge of how to run. He's athletic. He knew when to cut and swerve to the outside. He didn't run way to the sideline and lose ground. They're well coached. They're athletic, and they've looked good in every phase of the game.
And they just keep moving first downs. It'll be really interesting when this game is all done to tally up all the yards, all the first downs that Thornton has had, because they've really put on an offensive show here today. And Gikas is going to take that himself, and a really nice hit there. Coming in there to make the tackle was Kieran Conley. Loss of 2.
Well, it won't take long to total up the first downs for Cheverus. That's a pretty quick tally. Only having one.
I can count that many.
Can you imagine that, though? Yeah, I got one hand for that. Yeah, that is an amazing statistic, and minus yards in the first half.
We'll see. Hyman again, this time to the right-hand side. Big hole opens up, and there on the end, he's just getting dragged down by 3 or 4 Cheverus players. Looked like that was Sam Broom who came in there at the end, but wrapping up and tackling has been a challenge as well.
Yeah, he started in just a straight-ahead dive, and the offensive line just wiped that whole side out, and he cut to the outside, and there wasn't anybody there. What'd you say, Coach? 27 yards on that carry.
27 yards for Hyman.
Who's got our expert over here, Mike Haley, our statistician today.
Russ Thompson, Coach Dave Wing. We've also got Tyler running the camera. Maddie Beltwell's been here as well.
Executive producer, is that what you call him? That's
executive producer.
I think that's a
technical wizard.
That's a promotion, isn't it?
Dragon tamer.
Sort of. Sort of. Do they pay you more for that, Matty? I'm not sure about that. But yeah, they should.
And we're going to get a knee taken here. So
in last night's game, I had some technical difficulties. Probably they call that operator failure, I believe, in the business. And I'm texting Matty while he's running. He's got his own game. I'm texting like, what do I do now? And so he is really the go-to guy.
Oh yeah, lots of different broadcasts going on across the state.
Oh yeah, we're everywhere.
mbr.org. You can find everything. Go on there, get your team pages. Go on there, and they link all the articles to individual teams and towns.
92.7 OXO, 105.5, 1240 AM, 780 AM.
And 970 AM, where we're on right
now. So
right here in Portland. Another knee being taken as the clock ticks 4:20 to go. Have you seen anything out of Thornton Academy that gives you any pause here today? I mean, I think today is a terrible time to ask that question.
I'm going to go on record as saying we have not seen the punter, so we have no idea if he's any good or not. May not even get his letter this year, the way things are going, unless he plays another position. No, they have looked very
Tremendous.
good. I think that they haven't had penalties. They've worked hard. They haven't done anything fancy. They've run a regular read option and made it work.
Well, and you'd think with a guy like McCrum being the 3-year starter that he was, losing him, you'd think, okay, there's got to be a drop-off there at some point. But there hasn't seemed to be a drop-off here yet. You have Michael Laverriere, who's come in and been every bit the equal as an athlete, maybe not the passer that McCrum was, but there hasn't been a drop-off, which is really just remarkable.
He said he hasn't been the passer. I don't know. He threw 2 beautiful passes to Rosario, so I don't think they had to pass as much today. He certainly was a great runner today. No question about that.
So it looks like Coach Kiesel has put a stop to the scoring here at 65-0 as they just took a kneel down on 4th down as a turnover on downs will come in here, and the running clock. And that was a couple of years ago that they implemented that rule too, because that's a relatively new rule, right?
I think honestly, they used it for a while, and they did away with it. Mike, how long has the mercy rule been back in? 4 years. So I think you're right, 4 years, somewhere in there. And I like it because this game's close to being out of hand, if not already out of hand. You're going to get somebody hurt. You're going to have somebody who's frustrated on one side or the other.
Oh.
Lose their temper, and nobody wants anybody to be embarrassed. This is a proud program here at Cheverus, and they're clearly not used to this.
Well, hey, and we picked this game because we thought it was the game of the week, so I don't think anybody expected it to be 65-0. And the 2 games that we picked before this were incredibly competitive games. So we had the Scarborough upset over Portland, and then last night Scarborough and Bonnie Eagle.
This one, the 970 games, this is like Sunday night football. You get to pick them ahead of time, maybe like the week before and say, no, we're switching out.
Yeah, we're able to flex games if we want to.
Flex schedule. That was the word I was looking for.
I think we had one planned for next week, but that plan got torn up.
Who's the pressure on what the game's going to be? Is that fault to Maddie, too? Or?
No, that's a collaborative team effort, I think.
There we go.
I don't think there's any pressure on anybody.
Good leaders are always collaborative. Think about it.
I think we'll let Tom lead on that one. He seems to be back in the headquarters.
I haven't seen Tom for a while. Sometimes I don't see him in the fall unless I do a game with you. So
you got to go up to visit him.
Yeah, well,
you got to go up to the compound.
Is he still living in a tent, or is he?
No.
Oh, he's in a compound now.
Yes, he's got his own.
Okay.
Only I think that's only temporary though, because that's.
Wait till he hears this. Wait till he hears this tent. He's gonna give it to me when I see him next time.
Final minute of the game here, 65-0. It has been comprehensive, and Thornton Academy will be a team that everybody's going to want to watch all year long here, as that was Conley coming out here, Kieran Conley, for a gain of a couple, but it looks like it'll be 1 first down for Cheverus and a absolutely thoroughly dominating performance by Thornton Academy.
In the old days, we probably called it a whooping, but they didn't make a lot of mistakes. That very first series where everybody came from Cheverus and they stopped 2 runs, then the pass interference, and then opened the floodgates. It's been all all Thornton Academy, and really with almost no resistance.
Yeah, we had a really long first half here, a delay, and the second half has been a lot quicker, thankfully.
Running time will do that.
Only one touchdown here in the second half, and we have 10 seconds to go here. And this one is all but over, and it's been, I mean, if you're Coach Kiesel, you couldn't be any more thrilled with the effort your team put out for. And obviously today doesn't mean much in the whole grand scheme of things. They have their eyes on Fitzpatrick Stadium, but they certainly look to be on that course right now.
Well, it's certainly, I thought when the season started, Coach Haley and I sat down, we thought Bonnie, Eagle, and Thornton, and maybe Scarborough, although maybe not so much, would be the teams.
They're still solid. You'd be surprised. I think.
We thought from the north, because Portland got beat the first week, but Portland and Wyndham, and really we didn't see anybody else in the north. So we'll see what happens. Wyndham said we did their opening game against Lewiston. They've had a couple of injuries in the backfield, and so one of the Hausers was hurt.
Yeah,
Kyle, I think it is.
Kyle Hauser. Yeah.
So I think when he's back healthy, that's a much different team.
They don't have a lot of depth, though.
They
need people to stay
healthy. That's what he said. They
need
to stay healthy. But otherwise than that, I think they've got the makings. They throw the ball. They play very good defense. They've got good running backs. Unfortunately, when I look at this Thornton team, I didn't see a comparison there. But, again, I only saw them once. And you got to see them against quality opponent to find out whether they are in for the long haul. Some teams look great. It's like the Red Sox scored 13 runs one night and none the next. I mean, I don't know. So
well, and if you're a team like Thornton, you might get used to these blowouts, and then when you do find yourself in a close game, that's a little bit unfamiliar. So
sure.
I'm sure that's going to be something that
the good news for them for several years now, they've run exactly the same offense, and it's not that you're running exactly the same play because you're running a true option. You're reading that tackle, and sometimes you give it to them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you run a counter off in it. There's 4 or 5 plays off in it, plus play action. I think that when you run something basic like that has some capability of being a big play offense, you don't make mistakes because you got the same assignment all the time. And I think that was one of the things that always kept Cheverus in a good spot. They ran a wing team. They only ran about 7 plays, but they ran them really, really well.
And thanks for joining us here on the video stream. As you see right there, both teams coming off. I want to run through our sponsors one more time. Sunday River Brewing Company, September 18th is National Cheeseburger Day. Come up to celebrate at Sunday River Brewing Company in Bethel and check out their 5-pound burger challenge. Fox and friends will be there as well. That's September 18th. For more info, go on to SundayRiverBrewingCompany.com. Our major sponsor here is Orthopedic Associates. Reminder that our games are presented by OA, board certified, nationally recognized. That's OA. Online at orthoassociates.com. Also, Maine Athletic Fundraising, no risk, no upfront costs, and no minimums. Call Mark at 468-1759 and take the first step in reaching your fundraising goals today online at ManeAF.com. And also Moody's Collision Center with 9 convenient locations. Bring your car to Moody's. For your location, go online to Moody'sCollision.com. Also, Mechanic Savings Bank, they support our broadcast booth, which was from Bulow Stadium here today. Signing off, I'm Russ Thompson for Coach Wing. And Thornton Academy had 508 yards in this game. Coach Haley, thanks for the stats over there as well. They had 475 yards last week too. What a performance by Thornton Academy. But that will do it for us here on the MBR Game of the Week presented by OA on ESPN 970. I'm Russ Thompson signing off for Coach Haley, Maddie Beltwell, and also Tyler here today. We'll be back next Friday night, and you can join us right here on ESPN 970. We'll throw it back to regular programming right now.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
It was fun.
Good job. Thank you. Appreciate that. I wish the game was a little bit better.
Yeah, that would